I do care if monkeys get sick. I would rather them do it to worse animals.
What animals is it okay to test things on?
Guinea pigs, rats, mice.
But they need to be similar enough to us that it would, be analogous, right?
I guess we'd have to do pigs then. Pigs are pretty similar.
Pigs would get the job done.
Maybe that's just.
You ever see the Air Force testing like a missile out, and they got a pig strapped into a cockpit?
Yeah, I wish they would at least kill him first.
I think they do. I'm pretty sure they do.
Of course they do. Can you imagine that? It was like Operation Warhead, and it's like just
he hates that helmet. Turns out pigs despise helmets. Write that down, Mark.
Well,
couldn't fly for shit either. Well, I mean, my God.
Right side, no matter how this goes, we learn something.
I saw that meme the other day. It's like the Japanese and the Nazis during World War II, like rediscovering that boiling people kills them.
Oh yeah, dude. The Japanese were like, "What if we put antifreeze in him? Oh, he hates it." What if we put even more? Oh, and some guy at one point had to come into like Unit 7 or whatever that was.
731.
Be like, "What are we? Have you learned anything?" And they're like, "No, but it's a lot of fun." Like
they did.
That's basically
they learned a lot of stuff, then the Allies took it and used it. Because they would do things like freeze someone for certain, like put them in frigid weather and expose them to that to give them hypothermia, and then save them, and then freeze them a little more next time and save them again. Sort of discovering at what stages you can save someone, what the best methods to save someone are. But they're torturing live prisoners of war to death, basically.
But when we get there. Like,
I thought everyone
take the research. We may as well have the research.
I thought the research came through and we saw the documentation. Everyone was like, this is all useless.
Oh,
I'm sure there was stuff that was useless.
You would think,
how do we even apply
something? Maybe one thing. You didn't learn one piece of information that would have been, but apparently they're just like, nah, it's all a wash. We got hacked.
I choose to believe that's propaganda if they said that, because what they don't want to say is like, actually, yeah, we've saved so many lives since that Japanese torture group gave us all their research. We, of course, didn't punish them. They all went free. I bet they didn't. I bet they didn't punish those guys.
In Unit 731, there was like there's like one brilliant oncologist who's like walking past people, like using propane torches on frogs' legs to like get to work. And they're just like fucking around. And he's like, oh, I have to learn about the cancer. And so that might be what we learned from one good guy who was trying to make it right while everybody else was injecting antifreeze. I keep thinking antifreeze. That was a thing, right? That was an actual.
They would inject STDs in them and cut them vertically in half and stuff. They did some crazy stuff.
Vivisection.
Inject STDs into pregnant women's babies and make the prisoners do shit with each other. They had apparently there was a person in there that was like, oh, this is super fucked up, and he could have been marked as a traitor. I'm pretty sure I'm getting this correctly. And a prisoner that he spoke with that was just beyond help just asked for a mirror.
Yeah, we pardoned those guys.
He was the one. I think he the one that basically blew the whole thing open, right? That guy.
The main reason that Unit 731 members were pardoned by the U.S. Is because we didn't want any other country to get their hands on the data and results of the unit's biological experiments, as well as the fact that the U.S. knew that they would never be able to get the results by conducting their own experiments, as the Japanese were only able to get that data by performing lethal experiments on thousands of prisoners they took during the war.
Wait, so you said they did learn something?
Yeah, so they learned lots and lots of it. Well, I mean, just the hypothermia thing was super valuable, but they did thousands of different kinds of biological experiments.
Ask ChatGPT,
because I googled it too.
What did he say to us?
I asked ChatGPT. I did that already, and the answer is no. Nothing usable, nothing reliable.
Fucking Mossad AI ass fucking
right. And they said the only thing that did come out of it was like some sort of rules that you can't do this anymore, and a permanent reminder of why ethics matter in science. So then I was like, all right, well, that's ChatGPT. Who knows? Maybe it's the freaking big chat trying to lie to us.
Grok, and Grok was like, fuck yeah, dude, they learned a lot, bro.
I Googled it, and the first source said it was a resounding no. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then Kyle has yeses, so I don't know.
Yeah,
what
this
to think
is full
anymore.
of historian yeses over here. They're talking about the
He's on Daily Stormer
they would
right
put them in
now,
pressure
and it's
chambers
really
and
cool.
like pull the air out, and they were using that to test their survivability for air crews at altitude during the time in pressurized cabins if they lost pressurization and were exposed to low O2 and low temperatures and stuff. I think they learned a lot of stuff.
High altitude experiments. I'm reading about that one on Wikipedia right now. Is that where you are?
No, I'm on Reddit.
Oh, okay.
Bring that up to ChatGPT. Be like, so what's up with these high altitude experiments? It'll be like, oh,
Okay.
well, yeah, I learned a little bit.
Ooh,
Yeah, so,
field,
I mean-
they did
I mean, you-
field tests deploying biological weapons on Chinese populations, causing
Oh, yeah.
widespread outbreaks and deaths. Estimates of 200,000 plus.
Jewish people did make a lot of noise about Nazi Germany, but Japan was on some really fucked up shit.
I would say, like, and I hate to say it
Yeah.
in front of you, but for worse.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, they were. I'm like,
They were
they're-
ruthless.
Because like the Nazi, like Jews aside, and like the other minority groups
No,
they targeted for
no.
extermination aside, when they would capture an American serviceman, seemingly they would respect the rules of war and like, we captured you. Now you're a prisoner in a Nazi war camp. You go in there. Like apparently that seemed like the thing they would do, and they didn't think less of you because that's how European war has been fought for thousands of years. But the Japanese were like, "Oh, you surrendered? Well, you're not even a person anymore, much less a fellow soldier.
Yeah. Dishonorable.
Dogaroo." And they're lopping people's heads off for funsies and shit with those
You
goddamn.
think like
swords.
Mengele ever got invited on like a like a little trip?
He's a gas. He's pale. He's a gas.
He's going over there and he's like, yeah, they think I don't go hard in the paint. I go hard in the paint. And then like he gets there and he's like, you have to at least like have the pretense of trying to learn something. That is kind of the key of this.
You're not even writing anything down.
Yeah. You're not even writing anything down. There are a lot of eyeball measurements I'm seeing. Like,
I took the altitude thing to ChatGPT. It didn't like it either. Inconsistent results. Later experiments contradicted what they found. Yada yada yada. I don't know what's true.
I think that
some researchers argue certain experiments, freezing, mustard gas, tuberculosis, pathogen delivery methods, showed some methodological rigor and produced data used in real biowarfare attacks.
Oh, that's the other thing. Like we're kind of looking at this from the side of like preventative medicine and treatments, that like the good side of what they were learning. But there's also the evil side of what they were learning, like how to deliver biological weapons, which biological weapons were best at killing people in certain scenarios, how long it takes to kill a person from X pathogen or Y pathogen or whatever.
The delivery
Chemical
method
weapons,
is simple. First, you get a bat to poop on a pig. and then that pig somehow gets in contact with a person.
It is like who walk into bar joke. I can't get it to poop on the pig. Pig is quick, man.
Before the end of World War II, they made napalm at Harvard actually, and because they were just like, oh, what should we do? How can we fuck up Japan? And someone was like, well, their entire cities are made of paper. Maybe we could do something like that with fire. And they're like, yeah, okay, this liquid sticky fire. And apparently tried to do a bombing. There was a whole New York Times podcast thing about it. And I believe it was one guy who dropped napalm that killed 500,000 people in Japan. Just burnt their houses, and super fucked up. But obviously, you think about the nuke, because the nuke happened.
The nuke falls well short of the fire bombings. So they would use meteorological data to create the perfect firestorm. They would drop their bombs in certain areas when the wind was going from a certain area on a certain day to create an absolute firestorm, suck all the oxygen out of the center of the city, kill everyone. Way more people died from the fire bombings in Tokyo and all the other cities than the nukes. We had like 1,200 B-29s in the area running like constantly like back and forth bombing. It was like it's either 12 hours each way or 16 hours each way. It's something crazy like that those pilots were doing. They were all addicted to meth by the end of the war because they were taking those Air Force meth pills to like stay in the air. They burnt everything there was to burn. Like I don't. If the Japanese hadn't surrendered, they were going to be absolutely destroyed. The Russians were coming from the north. The Russians had already invaded Manchuria, I think. Like it was the writing was on the wall. I don't know that we needed to drop the nukes. I'm glad we did, though.
That's like the funniest possible take is I don't know if we needed to, but I'm glad we did. I'm glad we vaporized 500,000 people. Or no,
it wasn't that. It was like
one city and then
like
170,000 another. Right?
Yeah, it was like 80 and 90 or something.
That was nothing.
But then a lot died in the aftermath from like
growing up,
infections and the birth defects,
the radiation.
We were taught that dropping nuclear bombs on them was actually the humane way to end the war quickly, resulting in fewer casualties. And once they saw the power of what we had on hand, they just surrendered immediately and let it go. And I never even questioned that it was a humane and just act of kindness to nuke Japan.
Is true because so America was never going to accept like anything but unconditional surrender. So invasion was the alternative. Like their cities were burnt, they'd been conquered, but they wouldn't give up. Their populace was starving, but they wouldn't give up. They were training the civilians with bamboo fucking spears, Woody, getting ready for the invasion.
Dude, they go hard.
We were going to put 1 million men in there. That's what it was going to take. The casualties would have been catastrophic.
How many men did we send to Europe?
I don't know. Wish death upon me. I don't know.
That would be even more than we sent to Europe, right?
Yeah.
The U.S. didn't send 1 million soldiers to World War II.
No, we didn't have 1 million soldiers.
We didn't have 1 million soldiers. So who was saying we were going to send 1 million people to Japan?
Let me see.
That seems like a way to...
Jarvis, pull up American infantry numbers World War II. Japan.
Our current ones are only 1.4 million of active service members. That's not.
No, that was the
combat
troops. Oh,
yeah,
no, I'm right. The projected Allied casualties for the planned 45 to 46 invasion of Japan, called Operation Downfall, ranged from 250,000 to 1 million. It wasn't. They were saying it could be 1 million casualties.
They were already so weak. I bet we could have beat
4 million combined casualties was the projection.
What? They weren't weak. They had that dude that they had to have his superior go to that island and be like, dude, the war's been over for 20 years.
My God. That guy was hiding up in the hills taking pot shots at farmers.
I asked ChatGPT about it, Kyle. It agrees with you on every point. It mentions the Russians were on their way and they would have had more influence throughout that part of Asia. And it outlines a couple different scenarios where we invade or where we just keep firebombs. And I guess it's just true.
It was the most
somehow dropping nukes was the kind. Yeah, it's hard to swallow.
That would have been nice if we could have won without needing the fucking Soviets to help.
We did. Oh,
yes. Basically like arc raiding.
In Japan.
No, the whole war. It's like, we did have to align with those unsavory characters.
They did a lot of heavy lifting.
The scientific stuff we talked about. You guys have seen that video of the Soviets just like hooking a dog head up to tubes. My God. Just horrible.
Yeah. How long did it live? Let's see.
Sounds like Mars attacks.
It's too long. What a terrible thing. And he looks like would have been a nice dog. At least it was like a pit bull or some horrible dog.
Let's see. 1925 Soviet scientist Sergei Buchanekov. I can't do that. Kept a disembodied dog's head alive for 1 hour and 40 minutes. The head showed reflexes. Yeah. Wow. Hour and 40. So I'm sure you could do that to a person.
He was like, if this works, we're going to have Russian soldiers hooked up to tubes after they're dead, still fighting for.
Yeah.
Then you put them in like a.
It'll be like Red Alert 2, where it's just a Russian guy's head in like a big Tesla suit and he's shooting electricity at you. Remember that game?
That's the Dreadnought, 40K.
Yeah.